Hey there, everybody. It's good to see you all today. I'm Jodi Stende, Senior Manager of Learning and Content Experience for WEX. And I just want to say this is my first eGain conference. And I know that this is the first time some of you have been back in a couple years, but I am really enjoying my time so far. Learned so much from all of you who have shared your journeys, and I'm hoping maybe some of the nuggets we share with you, you'll be able to take back to your companies. But overall, I am Jodi Stende. Again, content and learning experience teams both roll up to me. So I have a team of designers whose job is to create learning experiences for our internal employees, but also for our external employees. So we're talking e-learning, content development, we're talking graphic design, we're talking webinars. So we build out webinars. We also do videos for our external audiences, as well as all of the facilitated courses we do for our internal hires. Then we also have a team of content experts who build out our knowledge base, and I'll turn it over to Bree to talk more about that.
Yeah, thanks, Jodi. So, like Jodi said, she covers the content experience team and the learning experience design side of things, and I supervise the content experience team, and I have been a part of... Oh, sure. So I have been a part of the team since 2018, and that was really around the time we started our relationship with eGain. And so that was back when we were just looking at dozens of articles, and now we have thousands. So we'll now give you a little bit of background. So back in 2017, that was when we started our relationship with eGain, but we weren't WEX then, we were Discovery Benefits, so that's the logo you see right there. And so we were a benefits administrator that was really fast growing. And our mission at DBI was to transform the complexity of benefits administration with innovative solutions and extraordinary customer service delivered by empowered and knowledgeable employees. The reason I share our mission is because when we were Discovery Benefits is because one of those notable innovative solutions, besides eGain of course, was our technology platform WEX. And so in 2019, WEX acquired DBI, and that acquisition has allowed us to deliver the best of what we do because at its core we simplify employee benefits. That continues to this day. So next I want to just share a little bit more about what WEX does. So we are a global commerce platform that helps businesses solve for operational complexities like employee benefits, plus managing and mobilizing fleets and streamlining payments. So with over 5,500 employees, we work with both small and large companies in more than 200 countries and territories. And we can also tailor our services to meet the unique needs of those businesses. I'll turn it back to Jodi.
All right, so today Bree and I are going to share with you a little bit of some things that we've seen. Some things that we have seen in the evolution of employees is what I'll call it. And so before we get into that journey itself, we're going to talk about what that evolution looked like. But first, I'm going to call on you guys to help us out a little bit of crowd participation. This is your opportunity to take a little pity on us because we're up here and you get to sit out there. So now everybody's going to help us out. But Bree and I are both from Fargo, North Dakota. Okay, and so what I'm looking for is if you have recognized an evolution or a change in employees in the last 5-10 years, I'd like you to give me your best Midwestern, oh yeah. Okay, ready? Here we go. Oh yeah, there we go. And for some of you,
And Ada, you betcha.
for some of you, if you're from the very far part, north part of the Midwest, you're not going to want to shout out anything in a group like this. In fact, you're probably the ones have 6 chairs between you back there. Instead, you can maybe give me just a little half wave, right? Like the little Midwestern, yeah, me too. So anyways, thank you for humoring me a little bit there. But as we look at this, some of the changes that learning experts have been tracking over the last 5-10 years are these 4 things on the board, and they go by different names, but the first one is job movement. It's becoming rare that an employee will stay their entire career with one employer. My husband has been at his employer for 29 years, just had that anniversary, but that doesn't happen often anymore. In fact, according to the Bureau of Labor, the median time that an employee stays at their employer now is 4 years. That number is a little bit higher for women, a little over 4 years, and a little under 4 years for men. So because of that, there's a lot of movement happening within workplaces. The next thing is culture. Employees are looking for a company that has a culture that aligns with their values. And I was having a conversation with some folks at breakfast this morning, and I happened to mention that when we were Discovery Benefits, we had a slide. That's how our employees could get from floor 2 to floor 1. We called it the employee portal, right? It shoots you right down there when you need to go. Maybe that catered to those of us that grew up in the Mario Brothers timeline, right? Little bit of employee portal going on. But with that, culture, a lot of people are saying, is changing, right? COVID hits, everybody's culture's gone. We don't have a slide anymore. Well, culture's not the individual things you give to your employees at your workplace. It's really aligned to that employee's values. For example, if an employee values continuous learning, they are looking for a culture that offers opportunity for them to continuously learn, right? If they are looking, or if they hold accountability high, they're expecting their employer to actually have conversations with them on how they can do better and improve. So employees are looking for that culture. They want to work at an employer that offers the culture that aligns to their values. The next thing that has kind of been trending in the evolution of employees is that employees are looking for balance. They want to be able to show up and work hard. Employees like the satisfaction of doing a good job, but they expect their employers to be flexible and to work around things like sick children, needing to attend a concert. They want to be able to show up for the things that are important to them, their valued things. And honestly, COVID has only heightened this one. Employees now are absolutely expecting their employers to be flexible with them. And another change then that we're seeing is that employees expect to be supported in their roles. So a little bit of a personal story. When I was about 7, I was with my grandpa and my uncle and a few cousins, and we went out. I grew up on the western side of North Dakota. We're out on a lake in the boat, and I didn't know how to swim. And my uncle says, well, it's about time you learn. And he literally picked me up and threw me in, right? Employees don't want that anymore. They don't want you to throw them in and make them figure it out. They expect to have those answers to their questions real time. Long gone are the days of going home to open the encyclopedia to find out why the sky's blue. I don't know if you guys grew up in that era. Like, we didn't even have an encyclopedia. So that wasn't even an option at my house. But now, like, I have to have answers instantly now because I get them on my phone, right? In fact, I'm the one that loves that when my phone hears me talking, when I go home and open Facebook later, it actually displays the product I was talking about and I can click order. I love that. Maybe you guys don't. That's just a me thing. I like to shop. So anyways, those are the 4 changes we were really seeing with employees, and this has come true in the life of our employees as well.
Yeah, those changes really started to make an impact on how we did business, as you can imagine. So in 2016, we began to recognize that learner needs were changing. I mean, that was just a fact. So the cost to train new hire employees, that continued to rise, while the level of competence at the end of training was actually decreasing. So the amount of information a new hire needed to know to be successful in their role, that was increasing and just ever changing constantly. So this caused higher turnover as employees felt ill-prepared and unsupported, frankly, and it created escalations and negatively impacted our customers. So in 2017, our shared services department was created with a goal to evaluate training across the whole organization. So that consisted of our learning experience and content experience teams. So again, we are a part of those teams. So we teamed up with our participant services team, like customer service, to reevaluate how new employees were trained and what resources they were provided to make sure they were successful on the job. So we created a sequence-based learning structure, and that only focused on the top 80% of what a new hire needed to know. That way they're not totally flooded with information right off the bat. I mean, that's inevitable. They're going to get a bunch of information up front, but we focused on that top 80%. And this is when we began our partnership with eGain. So as we began working with the call center team, we uncovered several challenges. So Jodi, can you talk to us about what those challenges were?
I will happily do that. So as we start looking at the challenges that we were seeing in our call center, I'm sure that if your organization has a call center, you're also going to identify with some of these challenges. So the first one is we were asked to do more with less. Anyone? No, not happening in your organization? Good for you. But we were asked to do more with less. Our company was growing super fast. We were doubling in size every 4 years. And when that happened, our immediate response, because we're growing fast, is hire more people. Hire more people. There comes a point when that can't be your answer anymore. Number one, there aren't any bigger buildings in Fargo. The Dome is busy on Saturdays because the Bison are playing, so we can't use the Dome. So what are we going to do, right? So can't have bigger building space. The other piece is, in Fargo, in North Dakota in general, we've had a very low unemployment rate for over a decade. I think it was like 2%. So we actually couldn't hire locally anymore in Fargo and get the type of folks that we wanted, because honestly, everybody who wanted a job had a job, right? The people that were unemployed weren't looking for jobs. So we had to get a little bit more creative. So again, we saw high turnover, some of it just because people came into our call center, they started their careers there, and then they were promoted into other roles. They showed that they were catching on to things, they were hard workers, right? These are the types of folks we wanted to keep around. But the other piece was that we weren't immune to that job movement trend that we've been seeing. So again, we were seeing some challenges with just hiring people. The next thing we saw was that our call volumes fluctuated, and it was fun hearing our friends over here talking, because we have some similar business background in what we do for our clients. So right now is our busy season, and call volumes go up. But you know what? We know that. That's easy, right? You can staff if you know that your call volumes are going to go up every year from October to February. Right? Well, if you can't get the people in the door to hire them, it doesn't really matter if you know that it's going to be busier, right? So got to get a little bit creative. The other piece is that there are times when something happens with one of our clients that is unpredictable for us. And our clients don't really call us and say, hey, we're having some financial troubles and we're gonna close down in about 6 months. Do you want to get some people hired to handle that transition? Like, they just don't give us that heads up. And so because of that, we can't plan for when that happens. We can't plan for when another company is going to be acquired and have a major transition where thousands and thousands of their employee base is now impacted. So that was another piece that we really had to kind of work out. But because of the staffing piece, that really impacted our ability to offer the balance that I said that employees were looking for. They want to work hard, but they also want that flexibility. And when you're understaffed and when you have high call volume, you can't offer flexibility, right? So that was another challenge we had. Then, because we were growing fast, the job market was crazy in our area, we couldn't continue to hire from our local workforce. So now we needed to find a way to hire outside of Fargo. And so as we did that, we ran into this situation where you bring people into training, and there is so much value when you're sitting next to someone and you hear their call, even if it's not a good call. There is so much value in going, oh, don't ever say, well, ma'am. I learned that listening to someone on a call, right? So there was value in that. That is something, that's a learned experience that I now have and can take with me on any phone call in the future. So we lost that when we started to look at hiring remote. So that was another challenging thing that we were working to overcome. And then our agents were frustrated because they didn't feel supported because they didn't have that experiential learning that they were getting before, and they couldn't go ask their neighbor if they couldn't remember which screen to go to. So we had to figure that piece out. And the last major challenge was just, we were told, you guys, you need to reduce the amount of money that it takes to train a new hire. So both between the number of people we were training and how long it was taking us to train, that was quite a high bill. And our CFO came to us and said, we need to get more efficient. We need to find a way to do this better. And so we were asked to find that solution while getting them through training quicker without losing quality. And so that was another challenge that we were working on. So now Bree is going to talk to us about the journey.
Yeah, so we gave you some background, and now we really want to look at that new hire journey. So how our specifically call center has evolved since we partnered with eGain. So we're going to look at 3 different phases of a new hire's journey. So phase 1 is when the new hire has their first day on the job. Phase 2 is their first live call with the customer. And then phase 3 is when new hire training officially ends. So let's dig in. So the new hire journey begins at the same place then and now, so that's day 1 of week 1. But we'll actually back up a little further. Even before day 1, employees are actually learning about training and the knowledge base with eGain during the interview process. So our talent acquisition team says sharing that in interviews shows potential employees WEX is really there to support them in their roles. And one applicant even commented on how knowing that a knowledge base even exists shows how much WEX cares. So this is a comment from a candidate, and then here are a couple more. So I'll have you take a look at those.
All right, so the next event that happens in the journey of a new hire is the moment they take that first call. Now remember, employees want to work hard, they want to do a good job. They come in and they are excited for this new role, right? Well, before, when we started making these changes, we didn't let them take their first call until week 7 of the training period. Now, our thought was we were going to teach them all the things, they were going to be super knowledgeable, we were giving them the support they needed to do a great job. But one of the things that happened when they were learning all of that is even if they came to us with call center experience, every day that passed before they took that first call, the anxiety level that they had went up and up and up. So imagine after 7 weeks, how high their anxiety was when it was time to answer their very first live call. The other thing that we noticed is in this 7 weeks, if we did training this way, if they missed a single day because they needed to take care of their sick mom, then all of a sudden they're behind. And it's really hard when you have a solid training program like that to back people up and get them caught up again. And so that was really what we were seeing, is that they were losing the excitement they had because now it's 7 weeks before they can even contribute to the team that they were super excited to be with. Their anxiety was through the roof, and some of them were flat out behind. Now we're able to get new hires taking their first call during week 1. So again, this isn't all eGain. We did a lot of work as an organization to restructure how we did the new hire training. But with that structure, we focused on breaking down the topics into bite-sized chunks and said, like, what's the easiest task we could train them on so that we can get them in the system, teach them to answer a phone, and get them to take that call, and just take those same calls a few times. And then when they've mastered the system, can we bring them back? Now when we do that, we don't have to reteach them the system because they've been in it for a little while. And so we can actually train them even faster than we could before. So now we're able to provide them with the knowledge base resource as a comfort to them as they're taking that first call in week 1. So not only did we move up that call from week 7 to week 1, but we've provided additional support that they didn't have before because we trusted that they had everything that they were ever told during training memorized, right? You've heard that, right? Well, we cover that in training, I promise you, we did. But there's no way they can remember all that. So now they're actually more effective when they're answering those calls because they have that knowledge-based support.
Yes, and finally, the new hire graduates,
Yay!
so to speak, from training. So this is where we really see the impact from the changes we made to our training program and launch of the knowledge base, back in 2017. So new hire training has gone from 8 weeks of training down to 6. So new hires now begin taking calls during their first week, and after they gain experience and confidence, we bring them back in for the next sequence, and then we continue this cadence for the entire 6 weeks. So we've been able to cut 2 weeks off the time to train a new hire. So at the end of 6 weeks, employees feel more empowered, more confident in their ability to handle phone calls with clients and customers. So they know how to use the knowledge base to search for what's not covered in training, since, like I said before, our training focuses on those most important, most common topics, or about 80% of calls. So here's some more feedback we've gotten related to the knowledge base. And now we really want to have you see what other WEXers, some of our colleagues, have to say about the eGain knowledge base, how it's impacted them and their teams.
I use it like every hour of my day at work.
The biggest source of value in my eyes for the KB is that it is one source of truth for the entire organization. That's where we go to find the information, as opposed to having to remember which file folder, which SharePoint site, which depending on, and I would add it's easy to search and find what we need. So those couple of things combined have really been a game changer, both for me, but also for the business.
The knowledge base is really their first stop. So before they are reaching out to support or trying to get help from, maybe a team lead or a supervisor, they're using it from really early on in their experience all the way to, I've been here for over 7 years and I use the knowledge base almost daily. We have our public knowledge base portal, which is available if you just go out to our main website. We have articles there. So that in and of itself, we're hoping that by linking the knowledge base out to our public website, consumers are going there looking for their information, finding the answers, not even needing to contact us then. Before we had the knowledge base, we had a different knowledge-based solution, and you really had to be intentional about what you were searching for and really had to know like the titles of the articles. You couldn't put yourself in the shoes of a newer agent and search just keywords.
When I first started, we didn't have any sort of internal knowledge base at all. It was like you got your training manual, and then if you had questions after that, you literally had to get up from your desk, go find someone who wasn't on the phone, hope that they knew the answer that you needed in 3 minutes. Having the ability to just look it up in the KB on any call that you need and trust that it's up to date with the most current IRS release is amazing, because before it was either you had to hold it in your brain or you had to write it down on a sticky and hope that you wouldn't lose that sticky, or search through an inbox with hundreds of emails.
It takes some of the pressure off of our facilitators, of course, to know all the things, and puts some of it back on the learner. So the learner can self-solve. So instead of a trainer saying, this is the information, you need to know it, they'll say, hey, this is the information, this is the subject. Will you look it up in the knowledge base and see what you can find, and then come back and report it to me? So then folks can go back to the KB when they get that question again in real time, in real life.
Sometimes even our articles have quick little videos of walking them through how to do things and step-by-step guides. So the knowledge base has really kind of served that purpose of walking agents through certain processes or procedures. I swear during training, I'm like, oh, here's a knowledge base article, like every other slide.
Every day I'm using knowledge base without failure. I'm always in it because it is a nice, that solid foundation resource. That knowledge base, I like to say, is the gospel sometimes of information. If you have any questions, use knowledge base and you'll find your answer.
So I want to share really quickly too. I want to give a shout out to a couple of those people we talked to because they work on, we consider them super users. So we actually have, I think I need to go forward a little bit or back, sorry about that. So we consider them super users in that they are using the knowledge base monthly, daily, like you heard. And we actually have an article we publish internally every month about our top users. And so we look at the data every month, who's searching the most, who's providing feedback the most. And that's a really great way to increase adoption because people are getting recognized for their searchability. So, like you heard in the video, the eGain knowledge base doesn't just support new hire employees, it also supports our entire call center. So in 2016, like we said, we recognized that the cost to train new hires continued to grow, while the level of competence at the end of training, that was declining. So we set out in 2017 to rethink how we did that new hire training.
So there were 4 challenges we were looking to solve for. eGain was instrumental in our efforts to decrease the number of agents needed to support our business, due to being able to have agents start contributing to call volumes during week 1. eGain, hold on.
I did that too.
eGain supported our initiative to get new hires on the phone while ensuring they felt supported more quickly. And eGain supports a more remote workforce by providing agents the answers that they need real time. And lastly, eGain was a major factor in helping the learning experience team reduce the cost to train new hires for our call center. Not only was new hire training reduced by 2 weeks, new employees are in production starting in week 1. With that, I would just like to say it was a pleasure to share how our partnership with eGain has helped our call center address the changing needs of our employees. And we'd love to hear more from you about how you're using eGain to support your employees as well. We're happy to chat with you during the poolside reception, or our emails are on there. Go ahead and look us up. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.